Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for round 3 of the PureSimGear PureSimGear GT3 Friday here at Indianapolis, home of the Indy 500 and also home to Ryan Stringer. Hello, how are you, sir?
Not my home, but yeah,
Oh.
I'm not too bad.
Well, you basically live in this comms box with me now, so but it's always good to have you on board, and hopefully we're going to be in for a rather fun night.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it shouldn't be as hectic as Tuesday. So
No, at least we've got an hour to gather our thoughts throughout the race, rather than 25 minutes. Those kind of give me a headache because they're just chaos, mental.
it was close.
But all tickets are resolved from Tuesday night. We've also had another race since, which was our rookies, who we kept apart in 2 separate tiers. And hopefully Mazzano, the numbers pick back up for that one. In terms of our stand-ins at the moment, whilst we're just looking at fresh Brizzle driving round Indianapolis, we have Jerome Acuna at top of the tree, Jan Duffner in second, Stuart Pryor in third, so 6 points separating those top 3 drivers. Then we've got Christian Bertoncello, Nick the Stick and Michael, Dries Verhurst in 7th, Ryan Blanchett in 8th, Tudor in 9th and James Smaggersgale in 10th with his 2 13th positions. So there's still all to play for with 5 rounds of the championship left. Points are deliberately tight, but yeah, it's hopefully going to keep everyone interested. We've got some returning drivers to the grid tonight. We've got Burke Arras, who's currently in P12, accidentally picked the Aston Martin V12, so that's going to be something to keep an eye on. And we got Oliver Brett Smith, currently in 13th, so be interesting to see how that pans out for them. Joined courtesy of the wildcard system, SimGrid. What's your thoughts about joining mid-season then, Ryan? Because I know you've done it.
I mean, it works well. It always gives you like an extra car or 2 for the races. Well, when I joined, it was when the sprints were combined, and I think it got me up to speed a little bit quicker having the joining mid-season and having the pros and the M's. So it's always quite good for that sort of thing, but you just don't. Not a lot of leagues accept mid-season joins. Which
Well,
you can turn it round. You can turn around a season. You could come in halfway through the season, which we was having this conversation just before the stream about like me, the amount of points that I got last season. I joined with 3 rounds to go, competed in 5 of the 6 races, and I ended up getting something like P10 overall.
Oh god, now you're going to ask me a question. So, well, I haven't got my dashboard up. What's the world come to when I don't have my dashboard up?
I don't know.
So there you are. So this is you. So you managed to finish P10 with 146 points. But you amassed an absolute stupid amount of podiums in a very short space of time. So you managed 5 podiums in those 5 races. So yeah, and obviously
I don't know how I got a podium in the final race. I genuinely was shocking at Zolder, but no Zolder, it was Zandvoort, wasn't it, the final round?
Yes. We returned to Zandvoort for the first time. Well, it was
wait, was it 7 rounds races I'd done?
No, you did 5. Can you miss the first 2?
Fine. I missed. My first race was Zolder. And I'm pretty sure, I can't remember. I'm now going to look at my YouTube channel and look at my streams to see what positions I got for all those races, because I'm sure that I streamed.
Well, in terms of what's happening on the track tonight, whilst Ryan goes and self-publicises his YouTube channel, Jerome Acuna is our top of the tree driver at the moment, currently in P1 with a 35.2. We've got Nick the Stick, who's popped in a 35.492. Christian Bertoncello a 35.7. Is anyone going to dip into the sub 35s tonight? Interesting to see.
I was incorrect.
Oh.
I didn't stream them all.
Right, okay.
I've got the only stream that I done was Brands Hatch, which I think I got second in the first race and second in the third in the second race.
Okay, well we're just coming. Sorry, go on. Well, we'll have a little bit of a check on that, and you can always just go onto the Formula Racing League SimGrid page and check out last season's results. They were about 12 pages back because we just put on a stupid amount of events. But yeah, so Oliver hasn't synced his liveries by the looks of things, so it's a.
No, he has.
Oh, is he? Well, I synced it at 7. Sound is good, Chris. Thank you.
I've got his livery.
Oh right, okay. I don't.
He's got it's actually got a nice looking livery. It's like a dark blue. Don't think it's his livery though, because there's a Netherlands flag down the side of it.
Well, unless
yes, there is.
Yeah, unless he's decided to become Dutch for the evening. I'm not sure if I asked you on Tuesday. What's your thought? If you've driven Indy for the track medals, and that was about it, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I drove it last night in the wet in an Audi, and to say at turn 1 I went straight on after the race whilst no cars were present and drove straight into the wall probably describes my feelings of this track. Chris, can you hear Ryan? Just speak, Ryan.
I am speaking.
Yes, that's cool. I was just double checking that my sound bar was moving for you, which it is. So we've got 24 cars on track for 15 minutes of qualifying. Top of the tree obviously goes into P1, and slowest goes into last. Interesting facts from me 24/7. Such a stupidly long pit lane here at Indianapolis.
I can confirm that I got a second and a third.
And what track was it?
This is at Brands Hatch. I got pipped by Chris Schneider in the first race, and then Michael Massey decided that he was wanting to win that race in the second race. So it was me, Chris Schneider, Ryan Blanchett, and then it was Massey, Chris Schneider, me, Ryan Blanchett.
Yeah, Ryan put in 2 very good performances on Tuesday night in the rookies, in the super sprints where he managed 2 podiums. So he's going to try and carry on that form into this race. Just trying to look across the grid. So you got Blanchett, Corving, I don't think raced. Tudor managed a podium in the rookies last night. Pryor, I don't think raced. Chica had some a mixed evening. Alan Brown.
Yeah, a mixed evening on Tuesday as well.
Yeah, Alan Brown had a good evening on Tuesday, a bad evening last night, and didn't manage to finish the race. Derek Brough was flying in his Godzilla mobile on last night's race. He kept telling me his lap times. I just wanted to punch him. Shabba he raced last night. He used Bjorn Klassen's setup, I think. Christopher Gedman has a dialed-in setup within 4 seconds of joining a server, so he's evidently going to be in P1. And I think that is all the names I can remember from Tuesday and Thursday's races. So don't forget, we've got the Super Sprints on Tuesday at 8 PM, the Rookies on Thursdays at 8 PM, and tonight we have PureSimGear, and then we have our monthly endurance races. So be sure to give us a follow, hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure you tune in for next time. We also have our Taco Tuesday races on PlayStation 4 and 5 on Tuesdays, which are always well worth a tune in. Fantastic Tom Cairns on comms for that. Yeah, all in all, we're pretty busy.
Yeah.
I can't see Shabba's livery.
Driver hasn't got a livery. I can't see it either.
Oh, right, okay. He's going for the black carbon look.
But you synced up too early. We thought Ollie had set his up.
So, Giorgio Bergio just gone straight over the corner and looked like he blocked Chris Gedman potentially. So, I can imagine some Scottish swear words being used in that chat. So, being a couple of minutes into qualifying, we've not yet seen our first fast laps. Looking at James Smaggersgale's car at the minute. Quite a nice little livery, actually.
First car across the line will be Ryan Blanchard, who is 2 seconds up on his time. So whatever he set in the thingy, he set a 36.1.
36.1. So we're probably expecting at least another second quicker from the drivers to really be challenging at the front of the grid. But track temperature is 18 degrees. Air temperature is 18 degrees. Track is 23. Rain information is currently clear, so not anticipating any rain tonight in Indianapolis, and I'm sure all the rookies give a huge sigh of relief. Nick the Stick pops it in for a 35.7, so we're now starting to get into those competitive times which we're probably looking towards, but I'm still expecting a low 35, maybe breaking into the 34s to be our pole lap here tonight in the AM division. Don't forget the pros are on the Formula Racing League TV Twitch channel. But if you like listening to Ryan and I, then stay tuned.
What's that?
I said if you like listening to Ryan and I, then please stay tuned. Rather than flicking over to Chromatics in the pros. So Ryan Blanchard's going a good couple of tenths quicker as he's going through the short straight. As we see a car off in the distance trying to spin round. So car number 5.
That is number 17.
Number 17. So Tudor. It's not having the best of time as Ryan goes through the final corner, trying to carry as much speed as he goes down the start-finish straight. Is this going to be a new fastest lap? It is indeed a 35.560. Meanwhile, while we were looking at that, Jerome Acuna is going a lot faster, but he looks as though he's about to encounter traffic. Well, he's getting a slipstream from Alan Brown. Oh no, he got a slipstream from Alan Brown and then popped in a 35.3, so he's just overtaken Ryan by 0.2 of a second and goes straight on at turn 1. So that's not going to be any continuation. We've got a couple of cars still in the pitch. Christopher Gedman, Georgi Filipov, James Smaggersgale, and Stuart Pryor and Jerome Acuna are all resting in the pits. Ryan Blanchard at the moment is still going even quicker. Amir Kasarasanovic in P13 had some interesting times at Nürburgring. Was involved in a couple of little bumps and shunts, so he'll be hoping for a cleaner evening in his Honda tonight. Did you join me for comms last Friday? Yeah, you did, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was just me, myself, and I last week.
Yeah,
no, it was
I was
Woody.
In the little one. I was in the little one.
Yeah, it was Woody last Friday, I think, with me. It seems like nobody can trust me commentating by myself.
No, I'm just bored. I mean, I could have done this race, but
you
I
didn't.
don't know.
Yeah.
I go through a phase where I want to race and a phase I don't want to race.
Yeah, I think it's important to find.
It's the tracks.
Yeah,
it's the tracks that are on the calendar.
You don't like them?
No, it's just like there are 2 tracks that I don't want to do, and.
Which ones are they out of interest? Alton Park and.
Alton Park. And I need to look at the bloody calendar again to see what the other one was. Alton Park and
Mazzano.
Oh, Mazzano is fantastic
I mean,
track.
I've done well with Mazzano in the New Year's celebration race, but I had the issue with my pedals, so I couldn't really get a flow of where I was going at this point. And then like I had the same issue earlier. I decided to do a bit of streaming, and I thought I'll start off with LFM on R Factor 2. So I went on to LFM to do R Factor 2 in the F3 car at Fuji. My wheel wasn't turning or anything. Like I was turning like a good 90 degrees on the wheel for it to go and turn.
Yeah.
Like I had the ratio set up. I had it set up in the game. I had it on the settings of the game, and the car just didn't feel at all comfortable. So I then swapped over to ACC. Then the steering input was way too much. So I was like turning the slightest bit, and I was sliding, and then sorted that out. And for the race, it was all good and everything, and I was just like, there's so many things that are not going well for me in the stream. So I got it sorted, done the race, and then stopped it. But I'm gonna do some more tomorrow and try and get that rating finally to 4. I done the Fuji and I messed up seriously.
So we got Dries Verhurst just coming across the line to start a new hot lap. Anyone going quicker at the moment? Sven Korbing is just about to cross the line. He's going a bit quicker, currently in 13th. Lost a little bit of momentum down the start-finish straight and remains in 13th position. Fabian Kerner still remains in the pit. Smagascale is just on an out lap at the moment. So it seems as though drivers have had a little bit of a break over the last couple of minutes, ready to go again. So we got Acuna top of the tree on a 35.3, Ryan Blanchett 35.497, Nick the Stick at 35.7 are your current top 3 drivers. Alan Brown is currently off the track, so he's invalidated, or is he waiting for more drivers to pass him by before he goes again? There seems to be quite a bit of traffic out on the circuit at the moment with 5 minutes left to qualify, and Sven Corving's going a couple of tenths, is going a tenth quicker in P13 once again.
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
No worries, enjoy your food. So Acuna's going a little bit quicker in P1 by a tenth of a second. We're looking at Ian Thompson, who's just starting a new lap. His last tour out was a 36.505, so we'll be expecting a little bit better from himself as they go through. Indianapolis, not the most used track on ACC at the moment. I think Watkins Glen has probably been the favourite from the American DLC, with a lot of different races being run at the track. A couple of endurance. Ourselves, we have 24 hours of Watkins Glen in April. Yeah, April, which is something to prepare your sleep for. Alan Brown goes very wide. Jerome Acuna currently up on his time, has Nick the Stick, I think, is the car in front of him. So car number 2 currently going through the final sector of the track. A tenth of a second up on his best time in the Honda. So the man from France. As we go to Brazil for some reason. So Jerome Acuna goes faster again with a 35.205. So you can see 37.0, 31.5 and 26.5 for his sector split. So that's quite impressive. Anyone else playing, keeping us interested? Terry Williams. So Terry just coming up to the final. Oh, he was just starting a new lap. His last lap was a 37.892. Sorry, with 3 minutes left to qualifying. So probably a maximum of 3, maybe 4 laps to go until the end of qualifying. Still got a couple of drivers who are potentially out of position. The last place you want to start is mid-pack. Let's have a look from Jerome's perspective as he starts to warm up for his next hot lap. He has, I think that's Nick in front of him. Yes, it is. So let's have a little bit of a ride on board in Nick's stick as he goes through the final corner, down the start-finish straight. So, oh no, it's not the final corner down the start-finish straight. It's a horrible one before the final sector. Missed a little bit of the apex, brings the car over to the left, back to the right. Let's try and hook it round. This might be a couple of tenths quicker as he goes now. His foot to the floor to go through down the start-finish straight. Let's keep an eye on his lap time. So that last lap was a 35.8. Now bring the car over to the left hand side, brake around the 350 metre, 400 metre board, drift over to the right hand side, try and flick the curb, bring it across to the right to get the power on, then back over to the left hand side of the track shortly. Here we go for a difficult, horrible little right corner, then throttle all the way to the floor, take as much of the inside curve as you dare, bring it across to the left, then back to the right for the hairpin. Got his power down nice and early, delaying a bit of the throttle before the right hander, take as much of the curb on the right as you can to then flick it down this little landing strip of the track, bring it back across to the right hand side, look for one of the boards. There we go, just brake down into the left hander, get the power on, and this is where you can eat the curb as much as possible on the right, then the left, and then we saw Vincenzo Senatore do basically that before coming. No, he's gone too wide, so you've let us down, Nick. You're going quite well up until then, so we've got 48 seconds to go on qualifying. So who is just about to cross the line? So we have Terry Williams in P18 once again, currently 2 tenths up on his fastest lap, needs 6 tenths to overtake Barry in 17th. Derek Brewer in 38.3 in 22nd. Christopher Gedman has set a 41.4. So Terry 2 tenths of a second up on his last lap currently, so 3 tenths, so he needs at least another 3 more tenths through the final sector to gain any positions. Might have chance for 3, 2, 1. He has chance to do another lap, which is good news. So he's brought himself within 2.5 tenths of a second behind Barry Gibbons. Barry Gibbons is in the pits. Acuna has completed his laps. Blanchett has completed his lap, so he's not going to be able to do any more. Nick the Stick currently in P3. Mark Vilhane. Haney pops it in P3, so Nick Stick has to try and get that back. Tudor coming through the final corner in his Aston Martin, had a great race on Thursday night. That's not much of an improvement from him. He remains P8. Anyone else? Derek Brewer going in Godzilla, staying the start, finish straight, P22, stays P22. Anyone else? Dries Verhurst. This isn't going to be an improvement as he coasts down the start, finish straight. Then we've got Marcus Schaber in the Carbon Honda, one of the Mission Spinau Racing Team drivers. So he's invalidated, so that is the end of qualifying. So our starting grid working from 24th upwards, so we've got Georgi Filipov in 24, Christopher Gedman in 23rd, then Derek Brewer in 22nd, so he'd just be hoping for that clean start. Then we've got Giorgio Bergio in 21, Fabian Kerner 20th, James Smaggers-Gale currently P10 in the championship in 19th, Terry Williams with a decent qualifying in 18th, Barry Gibbons in 17th, Burke Arras on his return in 16th with Oliver Brett Smith. Then we got Dries Verhurst, Marcus Schaber, Sven Corvin and Ian Thompson 11th. Armin Kasarasanovic in 10th, Stuart Pryor 9th, Tudor Mihaly in 8th, Joao Pedro Sodre in 7th, Alan Fresh Brizzle Brown in 6th, Christian Burton Seller, one of those championship contenders, in P5, Nick the Stick in 4th, with Mark Vilhane in 3rd in the Porsche, Ryan Blanchett in the Ferrari in 2nd, and top of the tree is Jerome Acuna in the Honda in car number 2. So wait and see how he managed to get on. So drivers will have a couple of minutes just to do their final settings, ready for the race. Remember, there is one mandatory stops which you have to do, which you have to complete a tyre change. However, you are not able to refuel. So we'll try and keep an eye on those pit stops. But let's just have a look at the drivers on the grid. So we've got Acuna from France, Blanchett from the UK, we've got Verheyen and Nick the Stick from Germany, Bertoncello Italian, Brazil UK, Sodre from Brazil, Tudor from Romania, then you've got Pryor from UK, Kasalavic Slovenia, Thompson UK, Corving from the Netherlands, Schaber from Germany, Dries Verhulst from Belgium, then we've got Oliver Brett Smith from the UK, Burke Harris from Turkey, then Gibbons, Williams and Smagascale all from the UK. Fabian Carner is that Hungary, I believe. Bergio from Italy, Derek Bruh from the UK or Bonnet, Scotland, with Christopher Gedman, and then bringing up the rear, you've got Georgi Filipov from Bulgaria. So it just goes to show how wide sim racing goes in terms of different countries across the world, and it's just great that everyone's sat in their bedrooms, sat in their living rooms, sat in their kitchens, sat in their sheds, all being able to participate in this event. I myself have just bought a new heater, so I've gone from my alien mothership heater, which only heated up the left hand side of my head, to just a little small 15 centimeter heater which has heated up my shed, so the fact that I'm in a t-shirt and it's a delightful 22 centigrade in here, so it's a pleasure, to be honest. So end of the working week, but the work is just about to begin for these drivers as they start to come for their warm-up lap. So Acuna leads them on their way with Blanchett in P2, Verheyen in P3, Nick the Stick 4th, Bertoncello 5th, Brizzle in 6th, Sodre in 7th, Tudor in 8th, Pryor in 9th, Kasarasanovic in 10th. Temperatures dropped by 1 degree Celsius, so it's sunny, 17 degrees air, but 20 on the track, so slightly different from qualifying. It is just gone 5 o'clock in the evening here in Indianapolis. We all sit there and pray for a nice, clean start. We don't want any death. We don't want to hold any funerals. We just want all 24 drivers to get through. As Acuna's trying to warm up his tyres in a very extreme manner. Remember, he only has to hold on to these tyres for 25-30 minutes, or a minimum of 20 minutes, but still doesn't want to get a nice little flat spot and damage those for the race start. Hello Ryan, you back?
I am back.
Question. Rare, medium, or medium well?
Medium rare.
Nice. Nice. Still like a little bit of blood in it.
I love a bit of blood in it.
Wait,
it tastes the best.
Yes, I'm inclined to agree. What did I have? Cote de Boeuf the other in a steak restaurant the other week, and that was absolutely fantastic.
I'm gonna admit it is the best one that my mum has ever made. I don't think she was expecting that.
That's
the best she's made.
Always good to pay your mother a compliment.
Oh, of course.
Well, my mum's looking after one of my kids today, so she's a lovely human. So Jerome Acuna, as we're just on board, have just bunching the field back up again, ready for the start-finish straight and the start of round 3 of the PureSimGear GT3 Friday event. Blanchett is on the front row with him. We saw Nopek get away from P2 very, very well on Tuesday night. So Blanchett will be attempting to do the same. So Acuna on the left-hand side of your screen, and we are go for round 3. All the drivers are spread across the straight down Indianapolis, jostling for position. Acuna will have the inside line, but he's going to go side by side with Blanchett as Vilhine has a little bit of a twitchy moment. Nick the Stick sends it down the inside past Ryan Blanchett to move up into P2.
Ryan Brizzle is off the track.
So Brizzle's off the track. Have a look at Sodre a bit further back. Oliver Brett Smith is trying to go around the outside of Ian Thompson. I can see Oliver Brett Smith's livery. Smaggersgale in P16 is going side by side with Terry Williams, caused a little bit of a bump. You can see Fresh Brizzle down in P23. Derek Bro, I'm trying to click on frantically to see what's happened with him. Georgi Filipov has gone off the track. Sven Corving is bringing up the rear. Fresh Brizzle in P22. So he's not had a great start at all. Jerome Acuna has Nick the Stick all over the back of him. Ryan Blanchett in 3rd. Burton Sello 4th. Vilhine, not the best start for him in 5th. Sodre in 6th. Tudor in 7th. Castro Asanovic has moved up 2 places into 8th. Verhurst has moved up 5 places into 9th. And Oliver Brett Smith is in P10. So quite a lot of drivers have shifted around. Acuna's gone wide. Acuna's gone wide, which has allowed. Yes, it has. Nick the Stick has moved into the lead. Oh, I bet that's squeaky bum time for him. I can't remember the last time Nick the Stick has led the race, but that is fantastic. So started in P4 and leads the end of the first lap, and I guess we got some catastrophe going back there.
We're Stuart Pryor, Burke Harris and Terry Williams have all crashed in the start of the chicane. Terry Williams has only just started going again.
Yeah, just looking at Terry's car, I saw Stuart Pryor's car with some flappy bonnet syndrome. Oliver Brett Smith is starting to fall down the grid as well. So, yeah, you can see him and Marcus Schaber in 16th. Just coming out from turn 1, we've got Stuart Pryor just going straight on in the background. I think that might be his race run potentially. Yeah, as Pryor's just pulled into the pits. Brizzle.
So looking at the replay, Stuart Pryor got spun by Terry Williams and I can't think of his name. Arras just lost the back end.
Right, okay, so it would be interesting to see if there are any tickets for that incident. Meanwhile, Sodre is right on the back of Vilhine in P5 for that fight, so that's just under a tenth of a second. Acuna is being put under pressure now from Blanchett. Blanchett was just having a look at the inside, which has brought Burton Sello in terms of the chase. Sorry, who did you say just spun?
Fabian Crane has just spun, has lost 3 places, and is now going to be under pressure from the Fresh Brizzle.
So, yeah, Nick the Stick sets the fastest lap. Blanchett under pressure from Christian Burton Sello behind. Burton Sello moves out of the slipstream into try and make a move into turn 1, and that move was, if you want an example of how to overtake on this track, that is exactly how to do it. Well done, Christian. We've got some drivers going through turn 1 as well. We got Barry Gibbons in P11 following Ian Thompson. Ian Thompson challenging Dries Verhurst for P10. Gedman and Schaber have got some flags against them. I'm not sure if there was any contact. Gedman's up into P14. Schaber's down into P16 and Brett Smith in 15. So Pryor's gone to the pit, so yeah, I don't think he's coming back out. Burke Arras is still going in P22. Sven Corving in 21. Brizzle starting to make his way back up the field onto the back of Fabian Kerner in P19. So is Brizzle going to try and make a potential move down the straight? He didn't have, like I said, he had a great race on Tuesday night, but on Thursday he pulled to the pits twice. So let's hope he has somewhere. He has a decent race tonight. So Burton Sello is now back under pressure from Ryan Blanchett. Acuna's 1.3 seconds in the lead, so Blanchett's also under pressure from Verheyen, and Sodre's not too far away either. So Bertoncello's going to need to keep his wits about him, currently in P1 as they're going down the start-finish straight, but that Honda does have some serious grunt. Acuna sets the fastest lap so far with a 36.995. Verheyen goes even faster with a 36.9. So that Porsche's got some poke about it tonight. It's unusual for the
definitely.
Porsche.
I did notice earlier in my stream that the Porsche was really, really good out of corners.
Yeah.
I didn't see that on Tuesday when the update come out, but today it's just seeming so much quicker. Like on track as well, driving they just appear out of nowhere.
I'm not sure what's happened to Ian Thompson, but he's just unless he made contact with Verhurst, and he was just letting him back through, as Filipov and Bruh have well, Derek Bruh has just fallen down a couple of places. I'm not sure if he had contact with Georgie. Sodre, so Mark Verheyen has dropped after setting the fastest lap last time round. Looks like he's gone off the track and he's dropped down to P8, which has promoted Kasarasanovic, Tudor and Sodre. Ryan Blanchett is now 1.2 seconds behind Bertoncello with Acuna in P1. So I'm not quite sure what happened with Verheyen, which has allowed him, which has made him drop so many places. Barry Gibbons and Smagascale. So Barry is in P10, Smagascale in P9. Smagascale runs right into the corner and has to concede the position to Barry. It looks as though Ian Thompson also managed to gain that position, so he's up into P10. Bertoncello goes into 36.095 for the fastest lap of the race.
Oh, we nearly had a repeat of what happened on Tuesday.
Oh well, we've got Gedman going.
Woody.
Yeah, oh god, yeah, Woody's not racing tonight, so Gedman's going.
It nearly happened to Gedman.
Yeah, Gedman's going 3 wide into turn 1. Fortunately, Gedman breaks in time. Car number 4 was trying to gain that position, but Schaber has moved up. Dries Verhurst, after challenging with Ian Thompson for P11 and 10 as Gedman. I didn't quite catch it, so I'm not going to comment.
I shall look at the replay.
Thank you. But it looked like he put his car in the wrong place, as Alan Brown was also doing donuts and has now got back running, but is in P22. Ian Thompson with Barry Gibbons. Ian Thompson makes that move down into the tight right-hander, but he was going a bit too quickly, skips over the curb, and Barry manages to escape into P9. Now, Thompson is under pressure from Smagascale, so I'm not sure if Smagascale's going to have the run up into any corners as they're going down. I don't think this is the start-finish straight. It's not the start-finish straight, so it's relatively small before the braking zone.
Oh, we've had another one spin. Arias, this is spun.
So Arias was P20th and it's now dropped to P22. So we've already lost one driver from tonight's race with 51 minutes left. Thompson and Smagascale, so it looks like Smagascale has dropped back a little bit. So Schaber has gone above Dries Verhurst, who's also gone off the track. Has come onto the track in front of Alan Brown. I think Alan Brown definitely had enough chance to brake, but then just slams into the back of Verhurst. Interesting. Did you manage to see what happened to Mr. Gedman, out of interest?
Mr. Gedman just decided to dive bomb.
Yeah, I thought so. Have you got... We may as well put that on stream, so let's have a listen.
I shall go back to it.
Have a look at that. So I'll pop that back up. So yeah, so Smagascale is now in P10. Barry Gibbons has dropped to P13, so I'm not sure if he was involved in any instance. Acuna and Nick the Stick are running very, very similar times in P1 and 2. Bertoncello in 3, Blanchett in 4, Sodre in 5, Tudor in 6, Kasarasanovic in 7. Verheyen down in P8, having lost 5 positions. Thompson has gained 2 to 9th. Smagascale has gained 9 into 10th. Everyone else seems to want to destroy each other right there. and has allowed some of the drivers who were further back to gain quite a few positions. Speaking of drivers who've gained a few positions, Filipov in P16 has gained gained a fair chunk. So has Bergio in P12 has gained 9 places, whereas Sven Corving's lost 3, Schaber's lost 5, and Brown has lost 14, so not the best of starts from him. Arras has lost 6 positions and Verhurst has lost 9. I don't think that was much help by being shunted in the rear. Yeah, okay, he did join not at the best moment, but it wasn't ideal. Are we ready?
We are ready, sir.
So let's have a quick look at that incident then. So if you press play, so just on board with Christopher Gedman now, going for the corner. Yeah, that move is never ever going to be on, never going to happen, and has then potentially ruined 3 drivers' races. So it'd be interesting to see if we do have a ticket for that post-race. Yeah, so Schaber is so stop. Schaber's now closing in on the back of Fabian Carner in P15. As we're on board with Sven Corving, sorry, who's going to try and go around the outside of Gibbon. I can't get my words out. Yeah, so Sven Corvin is in P14. He's overtaken Fabian Carner for 15th. Georgi Filipov is right on the back of Fabian Carner. Looking at the gaps at the front, they're still remaining quite consistent. However, Oliver Brett Smith and Smagasgale are fighting for P10. Yeah, Smiley says, "I'm tired. No more tickets, please." We love tickets. Smagasgale has lost P10, but he doesn't want to quite give it up yet. And may fancy the grunt of the BMW against the grunt of the Porsche. Brett Smith does have the inside line for turn 1, which he defends quite nicely. All he needs to do is make sure he brakes in time and not goes across. Smagasgale was going to go for the re-lunge, but then thinks against it, was probably for the best. Blanchett fighting for P3 against Bertoncello, so this is ebbing and flowing quite nicely. Bertoncello is going to defend the inside line. Blanchett thinks about ascend and wisely thinks against it. Tudor's on a bit of a go, so I'm not sure what's happened to him, but Blanchett is still chasing down Christian Bertoncello. We know what pace Bertoncello has, but we also know what pace Blanchett has. Tudor in P6, fighting with Sodre. A couple of tenths between that, and Bergio is now all over the back of Smagasgale. In fact, Bergio's just gone full-blown send, and they're going to go side by side. Smagasgale will have the inside line, and Bergio does concede in the Italian job, racing liveried Ferrari.
As Derek's made the move, and oh, Schaber's just jumped the curb and taken and gone into Derek.
Yeah, I think I've just caught the end of that one. I can imagine some sweary Scottish words being said in that chat. So Alan Brown promotes him back up into P18th, which is good news for him on his recovery. 6.5 minutes until the pit window opens, and I do think, unfortunately, Chris Smiley, there will be a few tickets being raised, as we got Schaber on the back of Fresh Prince, Brizzle in P18 and 19 for Kuna. More importantly though, is right on the back of Nick Stick. So last time around, Kuna was 0.5 of a second quicker. So he's gained quite rapidly as they go into the left-hander now. So Nick Stick still has the position in the Audi. So Nick Stick has just proven I'm a crap driver and I just can't drive the Audi, as he's currently leading the way in the AM tier for PureSimGear GT3 Friday. So these two are currently 3 seconds in front of Bertoncello. So Bertoncello's being challenged for Blanchett for 4th, Sodre in 5th, Tudor in 6th.
Becker Arras has reset to pits and hasn't done anything, so I'm wondering if he has retired from the race.
Potentially, and also by the looks of things, Dries Verhurst has retired his car as well from the race. I don't think he'll be overly impressed. I think he was in contact with Ian Thompson and then in contact with Alan Brown. So yeah, interesting. I didn't think I would ever say this, but it's actually quite warm in here. Borgio is still wanting to fight with Smagersgale in P11, so Italy versus England. BMW again seems to have that grunt going down the start-finish line, so we'll keep an eye on the gap for P2. Well, that's just closed again, so let's go back up to that and see what's happened. Just a couple of tenths in it. So it's a couple of interesting battles brewing. We've got Acuna and Stick, we've got Bertoncello and Blanchett, Sodre and Tudor, and then we've got, well, Kasarasanovic and Vilhine for 7th and 8th. So there's kind of individual battles going on. And then you've got Bergio and Smagersgale for P11 and 12, which are probably our closest fight. So let's have a see what the Playboy Vilhane is doing in his Porsche. I think this is the only Porsche on the grid tonight. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. No, you got Brett Smith in the Porsche, and Karner in the Porsche as well. So completely falsifying claims that there's only one Porsche on the grid tonight.
No, there's more than one Porsche.
There's 4.
There is 4. There was one more. I'm pretty sure. I just thought I've just rhymed without even trying.
Oh, you're a poet and you didn't know it. So Alan Brown is fighting with Alan Brown is fighting with Derek. Derek defends well, and then Alan Brown loses a position to Shabba as well. So Alan Brown is ploughing away in P18, which is nice. So he will definitely have some front end damage as they go into the right left section of the track. I don't know any corner names. Do you, Indy? Ryan?
I can find them out if you want them.
We'll have a look. So Alan Brown is so Marcus Shabba goes to defend the inside line. Alan Brown falls behind Derek Bruh in the Godzilla mobile. Godzilla defends the racing line. Brizzle has managed to get past Shabba. I have to say Shabba did some extremely clean racing there. He could have left his car where it probably wasn't welcome, but Brizzle managed to get past that. Derek runs wide and Alan Brown's gone past him also, with Shabba also following through. So so Derek now drops from 16th to 18th in one corner. Battle at the front is still a second, so pit stops are going to be key for this one, I think. Same with Bertoncello and Blanchett. Sodre and Tudor, I think, had a
I've only known in one corner name, and that's the Horseshoe.
That's the only one that's given you?
No, that's the only one I know, I think.
Oh, right, okay. So Bergio is still all over the back of Smagersgale. You got Barry Gibbons closing that in on that one quite quickly. So however long this fight goes on for, it's only going to fall into the clutches of potentially Barry and Sven behind. Sven Corving is lapping 37. His fastest lap is 37.4, whereas these drivers are in the 38. So you think it wouldn't take them too long to catch up. But Gio goes a lot later into the braking zone, which makes him run wide. But that could have been quite a nasty little bump, which would have sent James off the track.
I can give you the names of what someone else has called it.
Yeah.
Called the corners. So this is someone's summary of every corner.
The unofficial.
Turn 1 is turn 1. Turn 2, sweepy boy.
Okay.
Turn 3, eyes up. Turn 4, rather I stretch my right front tire part 1. Turn 5 and 6 is called Big Nuts Chicane, but that is without the horseshoe.
Okay.
And then turn 7, which is turn 8 for us,
is turn 1 V2. 8 and 9 is the S's. 10 is Launchpad. 11 is Lateral City. Turn 12 is Father, I should stretch my right front, tyre pot 2. 13 is the latest Apex on Earth.
Window is opening.
14 is the Return of the Brick.
Okay. Oh, fair names. So pit window is now open. Alan Brown has jumped straight in, which doesn't really surprise me. Sven Corving is going to go for a move on Barry Gibbons into turn 1. What was turn 2 again?
Sweepy Boy.
Sweepy Boy, yeah, I can agree with that. And then we got Eyes Up, is it?
Yep.
And then Stretch My Leg or something, V1.
Stretch my right front tyre.
And then we got the
Horseshoe.
hairpin, the horseshoe, yeah, okay. And then we got the right left bit.
Yeah, then you got turn 1 V2, and then you got the Estes.
Okay. Just feeling a bit more educated now on this track.
It's not even the real names.
No,
of
I
the
know,
corners.
but we'll live with it. So Bergio is continuing his good fight with Smaggersgale. So we did drop back. So Bergio definitely has more pace than Smaggersgale by the looks of things. Last lap, both of them did a 39.1. We got drivers now entering the pits. So let's start to have a look at their pits, their last stop lengths. We've got Brown, Shabba and Gedman and Sodre all in the pits trying to go for the undercut. Given that it's such a long pit lane, undercut, pro or con? I think an undercut would be quite powerful here.
Yeah, I think it is quite powerful here.
So
it's a hard track.
It is a very hard track on the tyres as well. So we've got Sodre, who's going to be coming out of the pits. The only thing you really have to be mindful of is where you come out in with the traffic. So Sodre is currently in 14th. We've got Derek Bruh is just coming through the start-finish line. Terry Williams is going through as well. So
I've just realised why we can't find the names of the corners.
Why?
Because it's America.
Right. Yeah. Oh, they don't like corners. Terry Williams has gone for an excursion for a picnic in the grass. So I'm not quite sure what was happened with him, but he's now back up and running, coming through the start-finish line. I tell you one thing I really do like about this track, and I know
Java's been given a stop and go 30 though.
Oh god, I assume speed in the pit lane. So Acuna's now right on the charge of Nick the Stick for the fight for P1. Into the slipstream. Stick is going to defend the inside line for as long as he can. Now they go into turn 1. Nick Stick will have the inside line for it. However, Acuna has the inside line for Sweepy Boy. And Acuna has made... He's still side by side with Nick Stick and backs out of it quite wisely. But again, a little bit of shunt in the bum from Acuna on Nick the Stick. But Nick the Stick has the lead still somehow. That was some balls out defending from him. Very different lines into the horseshoe. Acuna's trying to get a better acceleration from the corner, but Nick the Stick still defends it quite well. One of these drivers is going to have to do the pit stop soon. And I fancy Acuna to dive in at the end of this lap, because otherwise he's going to be behind. I thought he was going to go for a stand. Otherwise he's going to be... If Stick comes out first, goes in first, then I fancy Stick to be in front. So pit stop so far. So Sodre 86.1 has been our fastest. Filipov Brown in the mid to late 90s. Skedman and Shabba all over 100 seconds. So I'm anticipating the pit stops to be around 80 seconds.
Terry Williams
seconds.
is into the pit lane now. And is Nick the Stick going to come in? Or
no,
they're both going to stay out.
Both of them are going to stay out. Inside line though from Acuna, and Acuna has he made the move? Yes, he has. As Nick the Stick has to cut across the grass, he does well to avoid the wall. So Acuna has regained first position. Jerome Acuna is back into P1. He will try and he's going to have to defend a little bit potentially into turn 1, but Nick in the Audi against the Honda. Acuna had the tighter line onto the start-finish straight. and managed to get the move on Nick the Stick. Nick the Stick was then had to go a little bit wider on the exit, cut across the grass, and now was falling down into P2. So great driving from both of those drivers, to be fair. Could have been about 4 or 5 different accidents. Really pleased that they wasn't. But headline, Acuna is back in the lead. Sven Corving with Giorgio Borghio going down the start-finish straight. Sven Corving has the inside line on the Ferrari. We have an Aston Martin, which I think is Fresh Brizzle behind, which will be a lapped car in P17. So Sven Corving still remains in P10. So he has to watch out from behind of the lap car, but also wants to pass Giorgio Borghio, who we know was fighting with Smaggersgale. Smaggersgale has pitted with 102 seconds for his stop.
Shabba's race is not going well for him. He's been given another 30-second, but Nick the Stick is in the pit lane now.
Oh, so it'd be
along
good.
with Ryan Blanchett.
So Blanchet's gone in the pits, Stick's gone in the pits, Tudor's also in the pits as well. So it'd be interesting to see if Acuna goes for that. It goes to the pit stop in the next lap, or carries on for the next 10 minutes and see if he can build a lead. But it'll be good to see where Nick the Stick comes out of. Vilhine in P4 is with Kasarasanovic in P3 now. Remember, these drivers have been promoted because the drivers ahead of them, the 4 drivers ahead of them, are all in the pit. Vilhine goes a little bit too much over the curb, but it's still on the back of the white Honda.
The question is, who's going to get out first? Is it going to be Nick the Stick? Is it going to be Ryan Blanchett?
Well,
they're not far apart, but I didn't see much from Nick the Stick there. He literally stopped. I don't know if he's gone for tyres or not.
Well, they have to do tyres. The only thing they can't do is fuel. So all cars start the race with a full tank of fuel, essentially.
Unless they don't.
Unless they don't, then they try to fuel save. And you're a lot braver than me if you try and do that. So Nick the Stick has dropped down to P9, so Derek's in front of him P8 at the moment. I imagine Derek's got some damage as well. So Kasarasanovic is still defending from Vilhane in P4. Acuna has dived into the pits. Nick the Stick is coming out of the pits as Jerome Acuna is driving up to the line. So in terms of Nick the Stick stop, that was an 87.6. He has come out in front of Ryan Blanchett. Blanchett has fallen behind Sodre, so the undercut has definitely worked. So Sodre has warmer tyres than Blanchett, and now is in front of him on track. So the last lap for Sodre was a 36.490, which is his fastest lap of the race, incidentally. So it shows what he's managed to do with a bit of free air. Vilhane is now still on the back of Kasarasanovic. If you can keep an eye on Acuna for when he gets dropped down, that will be fantastic.
Acuna is still sat in the box, and I shall let you know when he goes. He's about to go now. He's moving now.
So he's moving already. So where is Nick?
He will get jumped. He will get jumped. You've got such a long way to go, and
Nick the Stick has just come from the last corner now, and Jerome Acuna hasn't even managed to speed up yet. So let's have a. So Nick the Stick is just going through the last corner now. So where is Acuna? Acuna's just dropping down, so he's still under the pit limiter. So here's Nick the Stick. We can see the pit lane on the right hand side of the track. So will we see?
Gonna be close.
So I think he's up. He's moved. He's definitely there. He is. So there is Acuna coming out from the pit lane. I think Acuna's gone. Yeah, Acuna's managed to retain P1. So you can see Nick the Stick in the background there.
Bertoncello is in the pit lane now as well.
And so is Sven Corving as well, by the looks of things. So the other battle which we need to look out for then is Bertoncello and Ryan Blanchett and or Sodre.
Oh, right, no, I thought that Oliver Brett Smith was in the lead. It was just me moving through the camera in cycle with who's on track. I was wrong. Kuna is still in the lead.
So unfortunately, Fabian Kana got disconnected and won't be able to drive anymore. So I'm sorry to hear that, Fabian. Hopefully you'll be joining us on the stream. We're down to 19 drivers now, as Nick the Stick drives, cuts the corner quite considerably. So here is Bertoncello now. Bertoncello's going up to speed. Where is Sodre? Sodre is coming through the crappy little straight before you go into the chicane version 2. So let's have a look where Bertoncello is. Bertoncello is still coming down the pit lane. He hasn't reached the end of the pit lane limiter yet. That was Nick the Stick going through, I think. Here is Ryan Blanchett coming down the start-finish straight. There is Wild Pedro Sodre. Are we going to see...
Close between those three as well.
Yeah, you can see Bertoncello. Bertoncello's got out quite comfortably in front of them, to be honest. So he has P3 overall. Mark Vilhane has dived into the pits. He's sick of seeing the back of Kasarasanovich's car.
Nick the Stick is all over the back of Acuna now for the lead.
Oh, they go in for... Oh, Nick the Stick.
Oh,
no.
Curse.
Yeah, just as we were about to come in for an epic battle for P1, Nick the Stick runs very wide, and now he has Christopher Gedman stuck in between them. And Gedman has pitted, so that's going to be a lapped car, and Gedman does move out of the way to allow Nick the Stick to come through. So having a look at the stops so far, interestingly, Acuna's stop was 1.5 seconds quicker than Nick the Stick. So I'm not sure if Nick had damage. Maybe it was an automatic pit stop, which is slower, or maybe he missed his box slightly. We don't know. But Blanchett is challenging Sodre. He wants to have P4 back. He's got the inside line. It will be side by side down the crappy little straight for chicane version 2, and Blanchett has made the move. That is skill driving.
Wilhine is just moving off the pit lane now. So where should he be coming out? He should be coming now.
I think he's going to be coming out in front of Thompson potentially, as Derek Brewer goes past. Yeah. Yeah, I think he might be fighting with Tudor, but I think Tudor's is crossing the line now. So Thompson is just coming towards the final corner. Yeah, so Mark Vilhine should be in front of Ian Thompson. Thompson has completed his stop. That was an 89.8 second stop.
They're close. No, it's not. Terry Williams is a lap down behind this.
Yeah, so Vilhine comes out in 11th, but yet to stop. You've got Kasarasanovic. Kasarasanovic now drives into the pit lane for his stop, so we'll see where he comes out compared to Mark Vilhine. Bergio has yet to stop in P2. Gibbons in P3 and Derek Brewer in P4 are continuing to go around the track. We've got 7 minutes left of the pit window, 27 minutes left of the race. So Kasarasanovic and Vilhine is going to be the interesting one where they come out of the stop. So Mark Vilhine is on his first lap out of the pits at the moment. It's about halfway round. Kasarasanovic now drops to P3, so Derek is yet to pass him, but I don't think Kasarasanovic is... I think Kasarasanovic will fall in the gap between Vilhine and Thompson, if I'm honest, as Vilhine goes down the crappy little straight. Derek Brewer has now dived into the pits to have his pit stop. Kasarasanovic in P5 is now coming down the pit lane. So let's try and keep an eye on where Vilhane is. Nick
the Stick was 0.7 of a second faster than Acuna last lap, so he could be trying to take that win.
He could, I agree, that battle's not over yet, is it? So that is Vilhine past Amir Kasarasanovic. So Kasarasanovic's stop was was slower than Mark Vilhine's by the looks of things. Kasarasanovic, yes indeed, that was a 94.4, whereas Vilhine was an 85.6. Thompson's has jumped him into P10, so he's having a good little race. Oliver Brett Smith in P12 on his return to FRL, so he's probably feeling relatively pleased with himself, and hopefully that he remains on the black stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Nick has been closing slowly. Just looking at Gibbons and Bergio. Oh, as I say that, they're both entering the pit lane at the same time.
Oh, it's down to the pit crews. It's down to who makes their marks. So we're going to stay on board for this and see which driver. So you have a look at Bergio. I'll stay on board with Gibbons. So Bergio's hit his markers. I'm not sure if he got moved around at all. Barry Gibbons on his mark. So
they are very much standstill.
So my darling wife has just brought me a Lion Bar and a coffee. Thank you very much, dear. So Barry Gibbons. So we're into the battle of the pit stops. I need to find my mouse where my cup of tea currently is at the moment. That's hot. So Barry Gibbons and Bergio are still on a standstill.
And Bergio's dropped, and he is moving. He's moving.
So Bergio's moving, and he's got past him. He's in front of, so he was already in front of him, but he has got past Barry Gibbons. Barry Gibbons is just going to be right behind. So it's Brett Smith. Yeah, Brett Smith has gone past him. It's Smaggerscale in 13th. Smaggerscale stopped quite early on compared to these two drivers. Just coming into the last sector now. Smaggerscale's stop was a 102, so I think that's definitely going to hurt him in terms of.
They're going to be well ahead of Smaggerscale.
They are, I think. But Smaggerscale's up to 4th pace, coming down the start-finish straight now. He's passed them.
You never know with the exit out the pit lane. Oh, he has. He's got ahead of him.
Yeah, so Smaggerscale gets P11, Bergio gets P12, Gibbons is 13. Let's have a look how that fight is going. Oh, he's got Bergio being let out past the pit lane limiter a lot earlier than Barry. He's got the jump on them. So let's have a little. Oh, and Gibbons has a moment. And Alan Brown looked like he was involved in that one as well. Not quite sure. Yeah, I think Alan Brown's admitted that he was at fault by that, by allowing Bergio to Gibbons to come back out in front of him. But let's keep an eye on this because he is right up in his slipstream, going down the little landing strip, as I think I want to call this one. But yeah, he just follows in behind. So in terms of our grid, we're down to 19 drivers. We've lost 5 drivers. So we've got Terry Williams in 19th, Gedman in 18th, Derek Brewer in 17th. Then we've got Gibbons, Corbing, Filipov, Bergio, Smaggerscale and Brett Smith in P10. Top 9 driver, Kasaranovic, as Brizzle's looking to make a move. No, he backs out of it. Kasaranovic 9, Thompson 8th, Wilheine in 7th, Tudor in 6th, Sodre in 5th. So I'm just trying to look at the standings and look at the fight that's happening in front of us. Blanchett in 4th, Bertoncello 3rd, Nick the Stick in 2nd. Just under 2 seconds behind Acuna in P1. Just into the braking zone. Alan just hasn't got into the rhythm of Indianapolis at all tonight. I like to think he's a bit. Well, we know he should be further up the grid than this, where he qualified. But in terms of the race, he hasn't got into a consistent run of laps. He's just made a mistake here or there, or someone's made contact with him, and he's just fallen back down the grid. So Corbing and Filipov are fighting at P13. Blanchett is 1.2 seconds behind. Alan Brown is, as you can see, these 4 cars on the landing strip. Is anyone going to make a silly move into the left-hander? Nope, they remain the status quo. So 20 minutes left of the race. Almost quite dry.
Just looking at the gap between Stick and Acuna, it hasn't closed much, but Stick was cut faster on the last lap.
Yeah, so Smith.
But we can't pull out. Tie off. It's going to be them 2 1-2. Bertoncello,
Bertoncello is he's got the
purple lap.
Yeah, he's got the fastest lap of the race so far with 35.9. Admittedly, Blanchett 39.987, Nicholas Stick's 36.040, Acuna 36.087. So there's not much into it. Sven Corving's going to send it down into turn 1 by the looks of things over Georgy Filipov. No contact there. Filipov will potentially have the inside line. Pit window is now closed. Fortunately, everyone's done their stops, so that's something that the drivers don't necessarily have to worry about. So Corving has now moved up into P13. Gibbons and Brown is our other closest fight, so let's see how that continues to develop. Brown's moved out of the slipstream a couple of times, but hasn't licked the stamp, so to speak, and sent it. So SVR liveried Barry Gibbons against the FRL liveried Alan Brown, which is interesting to see. We've got Floppy Fox racing in Tier 1, one of the other SVR drivers. So hopefully Michael's having a nice quiet Friday evening drive. Anything catching your interest, Ryan, in terms of fights, or? Oh, Brazil.
It's quieting down. I'm just sort of keeping an eye on the gap between Acuna and Stick.
Yeah, it seems to have extended. The last lap, Acuna did a 36.1, whereas Nick did a 37.5.
Oh, a friendly rivalry going on here. Thompson versus Gedman. They're flashing lights at each other.
Oh yeah, that Thompson has lapped Gedman by the looks of things. So
yeah, he has, but it's Gedman flashing him.
I think the friendly, well, Gedman's 32 seconds behind Derek. Barry Gibbons is right now on the back of Georgy Filipov as Barry gets a little as an oversteering moment, and he goes sideways and allows Fresh Brizzle through as well. So fastest lap of the race has now been set by the Budweiser mobile of Ryan Blanchett. So is he going to make a push to try and well, currently in the championship Ryan is in P8, so he's going to look to try and gain a couple of positions, because Dries is unfortunately retired. Michael's not racing tonight. Stuart Pryor is out of tonight's race. Jan Duffner is also out of tonight's race. So there's a good opportunity for Ryan Blanchett to gain a fair few positions in the championship with a P4, but obviously a P3 is going to be even better for him. It looks as though is it Burton Sello is only 1.5 seconds behind Nick Stick. So maybe that rather than, so Nick Stick's fallen to 5 seconds now behind Acuna. Is he under threat from Burton Sello and Blanchett? Is where he potentially is looking back rather than forwards at the moment. Good evening, Mr. Woodward. Hope you are well. Hope the little one is all right. So Burton Sello, 1.2 seconds behind Stick. Blanchett, 1.2 seconds behind Burton Sello. This time around, Nick Stick did a 37.2. Acuna did a 35.902. And then Blanchett did a 36.4. So around Blanchett's gained 0.4 of a second, but they both gained 4 and 8 tenths of a second respectively on Nick Stick. So I think Nick's second position is now massively under threat. I'm glad to hear, Mr. Woodward. So 15 minutes of the race left, and still second and third are in contention for this race. It's definitely not, the fat lady is not even warming up her voice. However, Acuna in the lead looks pretty imperious, pumping out 36s, 35s towards the end of the race.
See, I'm not calling it off anywhere. I'm seeing Ryan Blanchett on a flying lap, and I mean he's taken the fastest. He's done the fastest out of the front four.
Yeah.
In the last lap, so he could be gaining. He could take this.
Well, he was last. So this current lap that they're on. So Acuna 36.5, Nick the Stick 36.0. So he's got back up to speed a little bit. Burton Sallow 36.1 and Blanchett 36.0. So yeah.
Nick the Stick and Brian Blanchett done identical last laps.
Yes, they did. Absolutely. So they're just coming up to lap Derek Broad now. Derek's in P17, so he needs to. He's going for the twisty section. So under the rules, he doesn't have to move out of the way. However, they've now gone onto the landing strip, and Derek sensibly moved across to the right-hand side of the track. Godzilla does have a decent amount of speed, but now Derek's gone back in front of Burton Cello, so again through another twisty section. Derek doesn't have to move out of the way yet, as they come in through to the straight. Derek moves across the left hand side nice and early, eases off the throttle, again under instructions as to the rule. Blanchett goes full blown send into chicane version 2. So he's got past Derek a bit quicker than the others, but I think his positioning coming out of going into that chicane cost him for his exit, and has therefore lost a bit of time to Burton Cello in front. So Burton Cello is closer to Nick the Stick than Blanchett is behind Burton Cello at the moment. So that's going to give Burton Cello an opportunity to get his foot down last time around. So Acuna 36.1, Nick the Stick 36.9, Burton Cello 36.4, and Blanchett 36.6. Sodre's on his own a bit in P5, with Tudor behind him in 6th, Vilhine in 7th, Thompson in 8th, Kasarasanovic in 9th, and Oliver Brett Smith in 10th.
There actually is a battle going on.
Yeah.
For last place, for second to last place.
Right, let's have a look. Let's keep an eye on for the battle for second. But it's Christopher Gedman in the Porsche Mobile against Terry Williams. Go on, Mr. Williams. Let's get him. So let's sit on board with Terry as we try and find the chink in P18's armour. I think.
Whilst you're watching that, I shall watch the battle of P2. Which is not really a battle yet.
It's brewing. 12 minutes left. So Gedman runs a little bit wide, comes back across. He's taken the V line through the hairpin. Williams all over the back of Gedman. So last time around, Gedman 41-0. Yeah, everyone watching, don't forget to smash that like button. Terry Williams a 40.2. So Terry does have a fastest lap of them both, over 38.5. So a second faster than Gedman with a 39.5. Battle of the front is still second behind. Burton Cello is behind Nick Stick, 1.2 Blanchett. We'll have a look at their lap times in a moment. Just watching Gedman go very, very deep. And Terry Williams has got past Christopher Gedman, so Terry moves up to P18, 38 seconds now behind Derek Bruh in P17. So he found the chink in the armour. So battle for P2. I was hoping that battle would last about as long as it did, between 18th and 19th. But 3 cars in a row are 2nd, 3rd and 4th. We do have an Aston in the background, which is going pretty wide, but Blanchett is now all separated by less than a second, these 3 cars now, as they're going through onto the crappy little straight, I think, or is this the, yeah, it is the crappy little straight. So the lap previous, 36.4, 36.3, 36.4, 36.1. So Blanchett was the quickest. Burton Cello is right on the back of Nick Stick now. I fancy an attempt into turn 1 from Bertoncello. Bertoncello has a tighter line. He's got his foot down. The Audi struggling a little bit under traction. Nick Stick goes to fend the inside line. Is a move going to be made? Is there going to be contact? Bertoncello moves out of the slipstream. Nick the Stick moves back across the track for a kinder line into turn 1. Blanchett was very interested behind as they go through the chicane. He does back out of it though, and he's full, and the line of cars has fallen back in. So Nick the Stick 37, Bertoncello 36.4, Blanchett 36.0. So the fastest car on track at the moment is the Ferrari of Ryan Blanchett by 0.4 of a second over Acuna. Although 2 does do it, smashing out 36.2s in 6th place by just having a quick look at it. Bertoncello now a bit more under threat from Blanchett behind as they go onto the landing strip straight. Just adjust my ears. So we're into the final 10 minutes of the race. Bertoncello, Stick and Blanchett fighting it out. I'm not sure if they got any lap cars in the distance in front of them. So having a look from the front splitter of Blanchett's car. Let's have a look at Bertoncello as he goes through the crappy little straight into chicane version 2. Nick the Stick doesn't quite hit the apex but still remains quite planted. A lot wider through the exit of the chicane, which has given Bertoncello an opportunity to get a bit closer, but the Audi has got his power down nice and early. Is there going to be a move down into turn 1 again? 3 drivers drive next to the pit lane, back across to the racing line. Nick Stick does have the racing line going into turn 1. Any move going to be made? No. Blanchett again looks at Bertoncello, decides against it. Once again, quite wisely, but very clean racing from these 3 drivers. So last time around, all drivers were in the 37s, so it just shows that the pace drops as they battle, and understandably so. I do think Bertoncello and Blanchett are a bit quicker than Nick the Stick at the moment. Nick the Stick's in danger of losing first place and potentially not even appearing on the podium at the moment. So he needs to start pumping out some laps to pull away from these. I say pumping out some laps, it's probably about 6 seconds a lap faster than me at the minute. Oh, nice cup of black tea. It's just getting to that temperature where I can drink a little bit of it. Kasarasanovic and Thompson are getting very close in 8th and 9th as well. Bergio, Corving and Brown are also very close, but we're going to remain with our fight for P2. Blanchett again moves out of the racing line but decides not to go for it against Bertoncello. So this is what Bertoncello sees out of his rear view mirror, is a Budweisered Ferrari. We have Nick the Stick who sees a Pit Talk flat out sim racing livery Honda mobile, and Nick Stick sees absolutely nothing but black stuff in front of him. So he has the cleanest view. Is Kasarasanovic, Thompson and Corving of all flagged up as contact. Thompson's moved ahead of Kasarasanovic. I'm not quite sure what happened between those two, but all we know is Thompson's moved up into P8. Kasarasanovic drops to P9, but still half a second separates the two drivers. Tudor's, oh, Stick's gone wide, and Blanchett and Bertoncello have moved in front of them. And
Nick's spun again.
Yeah, Nick's gone off again. So what could have been a race win has now turned into P4, while Pedro Sodre could also make it even more painful and make that P5 or 6 with Tudor directly behind. But Blanchett, meanwhile, is still all over the back of Bertoncello. So a mistake at the hairpin has allowed both Bertoncello and Blanchett to go through. Acuna's now got a 6.5 second lead over these two drivers, but P2 is still up for grabs. Is Blanchett going to send no? So Blanchett crawling all over the back of the Honda as they go through the final corner onto the start-finish straight. The Ferrari's Ryan's got this Honda planted very, very nicely. Thompson and
Brizzle
Castle.
Dizzle is off at turn 1.
Right, so it's just ahead of these drivers as well. So I think we just see Brizzle coming back onto the track in front. No, we can see him off in the distance. So yeah,
he's just parked up.
Yeah, I think he's done. So Alan Brown was on the track in 16th. He's now, unless he gets going again, he's going to finish last. So Tudor and Sodre in P5 and 6 are close together. So we're going to keep an eye on the timings. Tudor's had a look down the inside of the hairpin, fought against it, and now he's going to try and go around the outside. Luckily there was no contact between the drivers, so Tudor and Juan Pedro Sodre having some nice clean fighting. So Tudor's got a little bit of a run down the landing strip, and he's going to make that move. So he has indeed. So Tudor's moved up to P5, so that's great driving from him. Mentioned a few laps ago he was the second fastest car on the track, so he's going to now be the one trying to chase down Nick Stick. Have we got Brizzle moving again yet? Yes, he is. He is in 17th. Blanchett, though, is that within 0.2 of a second, 0.4 of a second now of Burton Sello. So definitely this fight is not over. 4 minutes left, so we've got about three, maybe 4 laps.
3 laps.
So
Acuna's just crossed the line, so yeah, we'll be 3 laps to go.
3 more laps to go. So Acuna's did 36.6, Burton Sello 36.5. Blanchett 36.6. So I've just seen a yellow flag flash up against Barry Gibbons. Potentially might have gone off the track. Kasper Asanovic is right on the back of Ian Chica Thompson as they go down the start-finish straight. So is Kasper Asanovic going to make a move potentially into turn 1? I think he's going to be a little bit too far back. Yes, he is. Oh, under braking. Off on the brakes. No. So Thompson just managed to keep it inside the white line. We'll have a very tight line for turn 2 as they go through eyes up. As Kasper Asanovic goes full-blown send. Little bit of contact side by side. Kasper Asanovic is going to keep his foot to the floor through the right-hander. He's made the move. A little bit of door banging, but he's got the move done. Blanchett and Burton Sello have switched positions. So Blanchett has now moved up into P2 over Burton Sello, but Burton Sello says no, this is not over as they're going side by side through the sweeping right-hander onto the crappy little straight. Burton Sello's got the move back in. Blanchett's going to try and make the move. No, they've both broke into it. Burton Sello's gone very, very, very deep, and Blanchett has the inside line. A little bit of contact, is there? Yes, there was a little bit, but as we're looking from above for the right-hander, Blanchett has his car at width in front as they go down the start-finish straight. Blanchett takes up the racing line. Burton Sello crawling over the back of them. Blanchett moves to the right-hand side, down the left. This is weaving down the straight. Naughty, naughty, naughty boy. Is Burton Sello going to make a move down into turn 1? He is. Takes a lot of the curb. Blanchett has the inside line for turn 2 and has retained the position. That was very high pitched. That was very shouty, and I'm going to lose my voice soon.
Yeah, definitely well played from Ryan Blanchett there.
I was
watching it from the S's, and from the S's to that coming up to that weird straight issue. So, I was kind of questioning the move that he went down the inside, but really tight down the inside, and then all I saw was Sello go straight on, and then Ryan Blanchett just go slow into the corner.
Yeah,
which I think if he got on, broke a little bit later, he would have wouldn't have had to deal with that battling down the home straight.
No, but what did you think about the weaving?
The weaving.
Was it weaving first and foremost?
It is weaving, but it's different if you're side by side, and the car behind has already made the move. In my opinion, if the car's already made the move for the place, then they've got a quarter of their car alongside yours, then yeah, that I see it as wrong. When they're still ahead, it's not, but in the right mind, it's not right. It's like 50-50. like if you're not meant to, but you can get away with it once or twice.
The only thing is, it
throughout
was an
whatever. Now,
extreme left-hand side to of the track to the right-hand
I
side
don't know.
of the
It
track.
was more like a little bit of weaving to sort of throw Bertoncello off.
It'd be interesting to see if Bertoncello raises a ticket.
Yeah, I mean Bertoncello, he went for the inside. He had the car on the inside. I mean, he could have backed out at the final corner, the second to last corner, and gave Ryan Blanchett the space, because they did make contact, and that's what caused this side by side action coming through the final corner. So it's hard to say without having like a strict rules of you can't do this, you can't do that, but.
We want to allow the drivers to race as much as possible, but we've got Tudor now on the back of Nick the Stick for fourth place. Akuna's coming to the last third of the lap, so we'll try and keep an eye on Tudor and Nick the Stick as they go down the crappy little straight into chicane version 2. I'm using those as my new corner names for this track. I'll forget them next time. But just across in the finish line to win round 3 is Jerome Acuna, qualified P1, but that doesn't really tell the full story. Losing P2, dropping down to P2 to Nick the Stick. Nick the Stick then drops down into P4 after a terrific good couple of laps battles with Brian Blanchett and Christian Bertoncello. Bertoncello and Blanchett have a massive fight right up until the last remaining laps. Blanchett finishes P2, Christian Bertoncello in P3. Nick the Stick managed to hang on to P4. I'm not sure what's happening with Sodre behind, but he's having a few glitchy moments. P5 is Tudor. P6 is Pedro Sodre. Mark Verheine claims P7. Amir Kasrasanovic managed to get past Ian Thompson into P8. Thompson gets P8. Oliver Brett Smith in P10. He's just going to come through the last couple of corners to claim P10, providing he managed to keep a car on the black stuff. A little bit of a twitchy moment going through the last corner, but it looks like he's managed to do that. James Magascale with consistency of the performance, is going to claim P11. Giorgio Boggio moving up 9 positions from P21 to P12. Barry Gibbons has had an eventful race, and one not to forget, gaining 4 positions, but having quite close battles with many cars. Claims P13. Filipov 14th, Sven Corving 15th, Derek Brewer in 16th, Alan Brown 17th, Terry Williamson 18th, and Gedman brings up the rear. So, wow, they certainly kept us entertained, didn't they?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was an interesting 36 laps. 37 laps.
Yeah, well, is that how many laps they've done? That was a fair few. Well, that was the end of round 3. We've had two fantastic rounds. Unfortunately, I missed Suzuka for round 1. Nürburgring was quite fun in round 2, but I think so far that's potentially the best race of the season, with some very shapey moments and a little bit of controversy in there as well. But yeah, it was some very good, clean racing for the majority of it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so is there anything you would like to do to summarise that race, or?
Not really. It was nicer to have a break from having to deal with the mayhem like we had in sprints on Tuesday. Like Tuesday was just absolutely bonkers.
It was, but I'll say this: it was sprints. So I'm just going to turn off the volume for that. So don't want to look at that one. So we want to try and find the PureSimGear calendar, which we're failing of for the minute. So But next up, we have Misano on February the 3rd for round 4. Then we've got Donington Park for round 5. I thought I paused it, but obviously I didn't. And then we have Watkins Glen and then Alton Park for the final race of the season. Well, I've been James Williams, and you have been Ryan Stringer. I said I've been James Williams, the Pink Pig. You've been
Ryan Stringer.
There we go. And you've been a fantastic audience. Hope you all have a lovely weekend. That is the end of round 3. Congratulations to Acuna, Blanchett and Burton-Sello. Make sure you join us again on Tuesday night for Super Sprint Chaos. And once again, have a good weekend. Good night.